Welcome everyone. My name is Sander Berghmans and today we're going to talk about the tensegrity involved in business succession. With tensegrity, we mean the structural ethical tension that often defines succession processes. With this presentation, we aren't going to talk about the technical steps or legal forms, but that's how we can navigate those difficult moments where the interests, values, and rights of different family members and stakeholders begin to collide. Now, when two legitimate values collide, we do speak of an ethical dilemma. Now, what exactly constitutes an ethical dilemma in this context? Well, it is a situation where two or more important values conflict, making it very hard to pick a path that makes everyone happy. These aren't usually simple financial problems, but they are deep emotional situations that require real ethical judgment to resolve. Typically, in family firms, we do see that family values like trust, loyalty, legacy, or harmony will conflict with one or more business values like competence, survival, profit, and merit. And these dilemmas are very difficult to resolve. A classic example, or even the most typical example we see all the time in these family firms, is the tension between merit and family entitlement. Imagine a founder who has a child working in the firm who lacks leadership skills, while there is a non-family manager who is incredibly qualified. Choosing this child in this situation might feel like family loyalty, but choosing the manager is what the business actually needs to survive. And this is a massive ethical tension where we see that two values, personal fairness and business responsibility, clearly collide. Now, to solve such a problem, you have to create objective criteria that allow you to decide on who is going to be the next CEO. Now, it is important that you do this because um, leaving such problem unmanaged uh, can create very high costs. In this case, um, your leadership may be impacted, the financials, the reputation of your firm, but also the family relations may be damaged if you do not timely address this problem within the firm. And for all of these aspects, you will have a short-term impact and a long-term impact. And the longer you leave this problem open, the more impact and the more disastrous the impact will be. So not only do people differ in the values they think that are important, they also view the world through different lenses. And in general, we can identify three lenses that are the most common amongst the general population. A first one is the lens of virtue ethics, or the character lens. And in virtue ethics, it is more about the character and integrity of the individual making the decision. Is this decision taken in good faith? Whereas the utilitarianist will look at the consequences or the outcomes of a decision. It doesn't matter if, for example, people try to take advantage of someone. If the outcome is good, it is morally just. It's okay to do this. And third, you have the deontology lens, which focuses on the rules that people have to adhere to. For example, if you take lying, a deontologist will say you can never lie. Somebody adhering to virtue ethics will say, well, lying will most often be wrong because it's most often done to take advantage of someone. But sometimes lying, for example, to protect someone, can be something good. Whereas a utilitarianist will say, well, lying isn't per se that good or that bad, it's the outcome that's important. So if the lying has a good outcome, it's something good, whereas if it has a bad outcome, it's something bad. So therefore, people will have even more conflicts within the context of family firms because they look through a different lens at not only their businesses but also at life. So in these moments of discussion, where people have different views or have different lenses through which they look at the world, or in which they think some values are more important than others, the business succession planner has to act as an ethical broker. And your job as a BSP isn't to pick a winner, but in fact to lead a respectful discussion where the family decides together which values or which lenses are the most important for their specific situation. And such an ethical mandate that is given to the BSP requires neutrality, process integrity, and balanced empathy. Now, once you came to a conclusion and have said, yeah, these values are the most important, or this lens is the most important, it is very important to write this conclusion that the family has made down and make it as explicit as possible so that everyone understands the why behind the decision. And this can be done by writing this down, for example, in a family or a company charter or in a separate list of values. Even though you can come to a conclusion together, we still have to talk about something that is called moral residue. And moral residue is that lingering regret or the emotional burden people feel even after the right decision is made, because an important value had to be sacrificed to come to that conclusion. For example, if you pass over a family member to save the company, there will be hurt, that's something for sure. And as a planner, you have to acknowledge that pain, talk about the trade-offs openly, and help the family find a way to heal and move forward together. Now, this can be done by following the next steps. First, you have to acknowledge the impact. Really try to create a safe space for dialogue and do not frame the decision as purely rational. Really recognize that, yeah, individuals may feel hurt. Second, explain the why. You need to communicate why a particular decision was made and why an alternative was not chosen. And this can be, in fact, as important as taking the decision itself. And third and lastly, try to restore fairness. Seek an acceptable compensation for those people that were disadvantaged by the decision. Offer, for example, the unselected family member a different role, or try to help him or her to develop a career outside of the family firm. And these steps, and I'm fully aware that, may create serious emotional discomfort, but in fact they ensure acceptance and stability and avoid that resentment grows or trust breaks later on. Now, to conclude this presentation, I would like to explain three factors that define the tensegrity of succession within family firms, so you really understand the importance of this tensegrity. First, there is the process aspect of succession. Succession is indeed a process, and you will have conflicting values and problems popping up all the time. So it's your task as a business succession planner to really guide and mentor your family firm through these problems. Second, within this succession, you should not always strive for equality. Ethical decisions must align with roles, contributions, and competencies of the people, and especially of the successors involved. Third, trust is the ultimate asset. If you can build trust within the firm, you will be able to build legitimacy, both your own and one of the people within the firm. This will enable you to solve ethical problems within the firm and as such preserve value and secure legacy across the generations. So with this message, I would like to end this presentation. I would also like to thank you for your attention and I hope you enjoyed this video.